I've been asked to sit through an interview to discuss the Presidential Unit Citation for the 30th Infantry Division and the action at Mortain and surrounding area. And through the generosity of General Lusk, I was invited to go with him to meet the President when he landed in Charlotte at the National Guard Air Base. And we did indeed meet him, and after General Lusk shaking hands with the President, he came to me and he said, "What can I do for you?" And I said, "You can sign the Presidential Unit Citation for the 30th Division action at Mortain." And he said, "I will." And then he turned and he said, if I don't find anything wrong with it." Well, at that point then, the people that have been working on this started digging through the files again to look for anything that might be interpreted in a negative fashion, and absolutely nothing. So what we have to do is get to the President. I understand the request is now on his desk, and we've had some help in getting it there, but he would be advised by the Secretary of the Army, who is a West Pointer. And right now, the Secretary of the Army has just been appointed Secretary of Defense, so we don't want that to fall through the cracks and get lost, as it was early on after the war. So we've got to get to the right person to get that on the desk. And there is absolutely nothing that we could find that would in any way reflect a negative comment about the 30th. As a matter of fact, General Hodges, General of the 9th Army, Simpson, have both written letters, not in thinking about the Presidential Citation, but commending the men and the officers of the units about the good job that we had done, not only in Mortain, but crossing the Rhine River and on through. And we went 48 hours, so without break crossing the Rhine. That got General Simpson's attention. But to get back to the unit citation and getting it done, we're running short on time now, and we've asked different people to write letters to their congressmen, and I've written one to Senator Burr and to my own congressman, talked to him personally, and he's for it. He's the 8th Congressional District of North Carolina. And Senator Tillis, I'm not too sure whether he's on the good or bad list, so I ignored him. And I think we just have to push pretty hard. I mentioned in my letter to the Secretary that many years ago, living in Los Angeles, I was invited to the racetrack and at the Turf Club, and I spotted General Bradley. And I went down and asked his aide if I might visit with him, and he came back, he said, yeah, he'd talk to you. So I introduced myself and told him that I was with the 30th Infantry all the way. And we talked, asked about General Simpson, and he said he's in San Antonio, General Hobbs is dead. And he sat back for a moment, and he's in a wheelchair. And he said, were you at Mortain? And I said, yes, I was. And he extended his hand from the wheelchair and clasped my hand about as best he could. And I nodded, and so did he. And I left. And I went back to the table where I was a guest, and the aide came up to me and said, the general has invited you to visit with him in his office. And knowing that, and knowing his attitude about the 30th and Mortain, if he were alive today, he could have pushed that thing through in an hour. But we've lost a lot of friends, not only in the division, but in high places. So if someone were to ask me what kind of odds do you think you have, I'd say 70%. I think we're that close to it. It's supposedly in the office and on the desk. So if we could, and you know, it's no big task for him to sign his name. So if we can just get it in front of him, and after him telling me that he would sign it if there was nothing wrong with it, and we gave him a booklet, I hate to say brochure since it's so much in politics, of all of the pages and compliments that we have received, and different actions of the 30th we feel would be helpful in getting this recognition. But for some reason, I don't know whether he's a civilian or whether he's ever been in combat, was on the Secretary's staff that was thrown a wrench into this thing. And I think things like this, if we can get the attention of the proper people, meaning not only the Secretary of the Army, who will be new, and I don't know his name, but now the Secretary of Defense, who was Secretary of the Army, get his attention on a film like this. I know the time is limited, but get this out and get the people behind us. There's no reason in the world they shouldn't move forward. There's no reason we see that they shouldn't move forward. As a matter of fact, we think it's just the other way. It's an atrocity if they don't move forward.